the BAFTA Awards 2025 in the short film and the short animated film category. We've got some brilliant graduates from the National Film and Television School, which is an amazing place that has had so much success over the years in being a fantastic training ground and support for up and coming filmmakers. So I wanted to meet some of this year's students who are celebrating their BAFTA nominated films. Let's meet Jose and Bernardo talking about their short animated film Adios, and Karima to talk about their short film Stomach Bug. Karima, Jose, Bernardo, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me today, and huge congratulations.
Thank
First of
you.
all, on your
Thank you.
wonderful films and on your BAFTA nomination.
Thank you so
Excited?
much. Yes.
Super excited.
How did you find out, first of all?
Um,
Karima,
I
you go
How
I
did?
first.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I found out, I think Matty and I were just trying to keep ourselves distracted on purpose. So I did a full house clean and then I arranged to go to the countryside. And Matty went ice skating. Because
Whoa.
yeah, because he thought you can't be sad on an ice rink, something like that. And then, yeah, we found out on our way to wherever we were both going to
Oh.
keep distracted. I found out through the crew because they messaged in the WhatsApp group, and Matty was called by his housemate, and he thought, okay, I better pick it up because they won't be calling to say I'm not on the short list. So, yeah.
Bernardo, Jose, what about you guys?
You go, say, and then I will go.
I think I think I found out because of Bernardo writing in the WhatsApp group. Actually, I'm not too sure, but I think that was the reason. And then everyone was writing saying, "Hey, congratulations!" And
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that was the way I found out about it.
Yeah, I wish I was like Karima, just doing some other bits, but I was like really anxious, so I pretty much keep checking, and then I couldn't find it when they finished the announcement. But a friend of mine texted me, so
Yeah.
I discovered by it from a friend pretty much, and then I text her.
Well, congratulations, so deserved. Two very different films as well. Um, Bernardo, Jose, if you don't mind talking first about Adios and
Yeah, of course.
uh an incredibly moving piece of storytelling and filmmaking, and the animation is just extraordinary, and it really, really is. It's so immersive. You kind of, you feel like you're that third person sat at the table, at that scene where they're at the table in the house. Do you mind talking a little bit about the kind of the origin of the story and coming to the decision on this particular way of telling the story, why it felt the right way to tell these characters' story?
You go, say.
I don't mind. So very quickly, the story actually we created between Bernardo, Natalia, our co-writer, and myself. And, and the thing is that Bernardo, as a producer, way before we paired up at the film school to get to do this project, he was he actually invited me over a few times to get to know what were my likes and the stories I wanted to tell. And I
Mm.
remember telling him one of the stories that I had written before, and we sort of transformed it into what it is Adios today. It was a story about a father who didn't want to let his son go. He wanted to move to another city or another country. And the thing is that between Bernardo, Natalia, and myself, we sort of changed through discussions. We sort of changed the setting,
Mm.
and we placed the story of a father not wanting his son to let go in the countryside, which is something very close to me because it's a countryside house where I spent all my summer holidays when I was a kid and a teenager with my parents. And these two grown-ups going hunting and the unspoken feelings, which is very much what happened to me and my dad. So that's kind of like the seed and the inspiration for the story.
And then this the way that you've chosen to animate it. It's so beautiful and so it's like I say, it's the emotion that you feel immediately with, and you don't always get that with not every animation kind of makes you feel that way instantly, but this does.
Bernie, if you
Well,
wanna have,
I,
oh,
I
sorry.
think, yeah, I think in a sense, we talk a lot with Jose, and we try to understand why we were so keen on doing stop motion and why it was so important for us to explore a medium we never explore. And I think because the environment was very safe and we had the opportunity to try something different, and also we wanted to give a material sensation to the film. And using really particular material, and the production designer Aurora was incredible in creating this landscape and this world.
Mm,
And also I think going together to Spain and seeing where Jose lived before, and seeing the father of Jose in this environment, seeing the house and everything, brought together this kind of real sensation to the film. And I
mm,
think was really important as a team to understand what Jose's background was to execute the film in the correct way. And was a was a collective experience that was really important. And I think then we understood what was the animation. And I think Jose was really keen on trying to do something quite real and quite mature. And I think that's where it came from.
mm. It's the detail, like you mentioned the production design. It's the detail in the house is absolutely extraordinary. In terms of like, did you say that this is the kind of first time you've done sort of this kind of animation before as well? I mean, that's bonkers. But what was, I guess, going into it, what was your expectation of that versus what the reality was of making the film in this way for both of you, I guess?
I mean,
You can go ahead first if you want, Bernie.
I think in my life I never done stop motion at this level, and for me it was completely new. But I was really keen on learning the medium
Mm.
because I love animation and I love stop motion, and I really trusted Jose to be able to pull it up. And he had a lot of background on animation and everything, but he was also really keen on learning. And
Mm,
I think that together, hand by hand, we kind of managed to push together throughout the piece.
yeah,
And yeah, that's what I felt.
so great. Um,
Yeah, and we so very quickly, and we also relied on our DOP because he most of the team actually comes from live action. Most of the team members had never done animation before studying at the NFTS. Of course, I had, but I think I was the only one. So we had to learn through making mistakes and overcoming them. But it is true that the first approach to this technique was key to the final result, and we were all kind of surprised of the result, but it went well for the story and the film, so we are very proud of it.
yeah, amazing. I mean, it's crazy to think that you'd never not done stop motion like this before. It's so good. Karima, I loved your film. I loved the aesthetic of it. I loved the story. I loved the kind of main character. What was the kind of genesis of this story and kind of, you know, making this, but also making it in the way that you have as well. Sound design on it is great as well.
Thank you. Yeah, sound design. We had the same person sound design and compose it, so I think that played a key role. And it's been a big learning for us because it feeds into each other in a way. And I think we couldn't have done it any other way. Um, and the story, the genesis, I think Matti just came to me with a script because he wanted to talk about empty nest syndrome, and his mom was has just been left alone in a big house because she used to live with his brother and his kids, but then they
Mm,
found their own house and they moved. And then Matty's mom called him, and she said to him that if my body would allow it, I would have another kid just to like escape this loneliness. And the moment he sent the script to me without even knowing this backstory, I instantly related because I've also been someone who has left my home country and went abroad to study and live abroad now. And I feel like everyone in one way or another can relate to this feeling of leaving your home. And in a way, you can relate to both characters, both the father and the daughter. So eventually it ended up being a universal um,
Yeah.
story in a way. Yeah.
But it's the kind of the brilliance of using the father as opposed to, a mother, which would have been it's because it what it does is it kind of allows the film to really sit in its own genre in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's really clever and really unique. I don't know if that was an intention, but it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely it has come up from different audience members as well that it strikes them that it's a father instead of a mother. And I think the intention has always been to like challenge traditional perceptions of characters and the roles they play in a family unit.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be interesting to have this father figure in such a vulnerable position and in a way being rejected by his daughter. So yeah, and I do think that it has managed to gather a lot of different responses from
Yeah.
audiences because of what it is.
I love when things don't fit in a box. It's great. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of it's like it's yeah, I hate when people want to put tags on things all the time. It's so great. The aesthetic of it as well has got such a kind of really striking it really stays with you. And I wondered if you had any kind of reference points in particular that in terms of how you wanted the film to look or that you used as kind of reference points for it.
So the way Matti pitched the film and the way we viewed it, but I think it's quite visceral because he said, I want the audience to throw up and cry. And I feel like the whole aesthetic has tried to match that, even like in terms of color and everything. But yes, in terms of body horror, we had to like accentuate the prosthetics and the body horror elements. So there was a big and long conversation with our DOP and our prosthetics designer about how we capture these moments and make it quite visceral. But still engaging and emotional. So it was always a dance between the two.
It's so good. And I mean there's just so much kind of confidence in how it's shot as well. It's just kind of like it's yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, I'd quite like to see a full length feature of this for sure, please.
That's so great to hear. I don't know about a feature of this specific story, but
Yeah,
there will be another one quite similar soon. Not
great.
soon, but we're in the works.
Yeah, awesome. And then for both of you, in terms of having this kind of support network of the NFTS, in terms of what did that kind of offer you, give you, support you with? What were some of the most important elements of that experience of having, that organization, those individuals that, you mentioned kind of even kind of, I guess, equipment and all that kind of stuff. What was the kind of most important part of that for you?
Will I go
Bernardo,
first?
yeah, you want to go, Karima? Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, this was a graduate scheme by the NFTS in a collaboration with BBC. So it was very unique because it was my first film that I produced outside of the school in a way. So it was under my own company, and I was like trying to make it out into the world. But at the same time, it was so important to have that pillar that the NFTS offered because we felt completely protected, supported. We would go to them for any questions, any help with equipment, and most importantly, they were with us throughout development all the time. And throughout post production. So even creatively, we had a lot of like feedback and input and
Mm.
support. So for me, it was a very important, and Matti as well, a very important um, help in making that leap into non-student films,
Yeah.
getting us ready to just make films in the outside world.
Yeah. Bernardo, Jose, what about for you guys? Jose, do you want to pick up first?
Sure. For me, actually, spending 2 years at the NFTS doing this course on interactive animation was like a hiatus in my career because I normally work as an illustrator and storyboard artist in animated films and productions. So having the time to focus on telling my own stories, developing my storytelling techniques and getting to know new people. That was magnificent because it's really hard, if not impossible, to get to do that while you work and while you try to get your bread and butter. So in that sense, I was so blessed to be included at the NFTS and also particularly for stop motion animation, having the facilities that the school provides, that was mind blowing because if you think how much this type of film would have cost if you get to do it out of the film school, that would be bonkers. It's the budget of stop motion films or animation in general is so high, also in short films. So having that security from the school, that was great. And also the tutors. I mean, there are so many good things about the NFTs, but to finish with the tutors, their guidance. Sometimes we were helping them, or at least I was helping them to teach me how to do stop motion, but they didn't really know how to do that. What they knew is how to tell a good story, and then it was up to you to learn how to develop the technique. And this is what matters really as storytellers to learn how to maximize your story.
Amazing. Bernardo?
I mean, for me, coming from a different background and different culture, for me, the NFTS was a way of learning how the UK industry works and there is a different culture and it's completely different from what I used to. And I think having different possibilities, having so many paths that we could have thanks to the school and being in a different environment with new people and a kind of special human side because you're together with people for 2 years and you see always the same people and you have breakfast with them and you have lunch, you have dinner and you spend so much time with them. I think the NFTS was great on, of course, all the equipment and all the facility that we had, but especially on the human side and the chance to do something new and something fresh.
Yeah. And look at the results. BAFTA nominated. It's amazing. I'm going to look out for you guys this Sunday. If you feel a kind of tap on your shoulder at any point, it's going to probably be me, so I can say congratulations in person. And what a wonderful kind of thing to take into the next step in your career, and the fact that you've had this recognition for your work. It's a wonderful achievement and so rightly deserved as well. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.
Thank you so much for having us.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see you Sunday.
Finger
Good luck.
crossed.
Yeah.
See you Sunday.
See you
Bye.
Sunday. Bye.
Oye, papá, ¿vamos a salir a cazar al final después de comer?